Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to the Ancient Legends Challenge. In the last episode, our tribe set a course for the Killer Islands, and now it appears as if they may have found their pathway to the next mountain in their journeys, and hopefully the one that will give us those final 2 genes that we need to complete this challenge once and for all. But it is quite clear that we have a lot of work to do. We have 10 ports to work with, so we better make sure that we make use of them all. I guess that means we're going to be breeding an army in this episode, or as close as we can possibly get, because we need to make sure that our tribe is strong enough to survive the trials. It seems like all of these skeletons are acting as a way to warn them that whatever is waiting in their future is not going to be too pretty. But luckily, this island is very small, so there's not really much room for distractions. So hopefully we'll be able to breed our little troop of adventurers today, so they'll be ready to set sail soon. We're having our 2 strongest warriors, our little saber-toothed boys, make their way into the tall grass, because they're going to see if they can find anything special waiting out here. Oh, a permanent nest? Excellent. We'll have to call out to your tribe mates then, because that would be an excellent place for us to get started on our families. I would really love it if they could find some sort of stump maybe, just something to set up on and call out for a potential mate, because unfortunately I don't think that many of the ladies are interested in getting to know our saber-toothed boys. It seems like they're a bit more interested in Proxy's unique ways. He's our only creature who's connected to Melody at the moment. And it's quite clear that Melody's presence is very strong all up and down these shores. We have a brand new food source for them to pick up, these coconuts over here, and quite fittingly Proxy is the only one who can crack them open. So you are going to be feasting. You can give these lovely coconuts to all of the ladies and impress them with your unique skills. Our tricksters have always been very, very cautious about who they tell their true stories to, but I think that May is quite a capable candidate, since she is one of the only creatures who aren't too interested in the ways of the old legends. She actually has no true interest in carrying out her father's ways. Maybe he would see her as being the least connected to the ancient legends, so she would be the most likely to listen to his stories without judgment clouding her vision. Honestly though, I don't see Melody as a deity of complete evil. I think she helps out in her own way. In fact, it was her heat waves that brought the bunnies back to the mountains, and without those our tribe could have very likely starved. It's just that our ancient legends are often much hardier than our other creatures, so that means they can't stand the heat very well. And that's why Aang in particular was never too impressed by Melody's... Oh my gosh, May! Oh no! She got a little bit too eager. Oh, she probably wanted to be just like Proxy and scoop up all of those coconuts. But you're going to have to leave it to the professionals. In fact, Proxy probably should have left that coconut right underneath their feet. Well, the poor thing, I hope she's going to be able to move on the next turn. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to find any healing fruits out here. It seems like this island is probably too small for that. And honestly, I don't think this generation would even know what to look for. This entire biome is just completely brand new to them. So that's probably why Valerie is a little bit more reserved. She's not sure if she wants to go scouting around for those roots, because she is getting very old, and this is going to be her last chance to have any heirs of her own. So maybe we should bring her over to Proxy. Their immunity genes do line up perfectly, and we do want her to have some babies that could pass on those excellent digging abilities. So this might be the perfect time to just take a step back and kind of focus on our eyesight, our fertility for sure. We're only 1 turn away from unlocking the high fertility in our mutation menu, so we might as well wait to put any fertility genes into their mutation menus for now. Let's go ahead and place the normal eyes into her first slot, and then I guess that will be it. We could possibly put the digging paw into Proxy's mutation menu, simply because I don't think the nimble fingers will work too well on the next island, so we'll want something to help them gather more food. So go ahead and breed with Proxy, then place down your nest. Luckily, very, very far away from those coconut trees. If Valerie's more cautious, then she would be much more attuned to where she's setting up her nests. Oh, but we have a little digging trunked baby. And poor May. It looks like you were hit again. Okay, Proxy, you better leave that coconut right there. We don't want May to get too hurt before she has some babies. Oh my gosh, though. Is this not the cutest little digging trunk you've ever seen? It looks like the reason why he has the digging trunk is because his father passed on that Berryina snow. And I'm sure some of you have noticed that May's actually carrying it too, so there is a possibility that Melody's flames might inherit a brand new gene. We'll have to see how it works out between their babies when she finally isn't feeling so stunned. But as for you, little one, the next name on my list is Kaneki, so welcome to our tribe. I'm sure you will be a very helpful warrior, but more than that, you're going to be a very helpful digger too. A very helpful provider for our tribe, in case the food sources are particularly low out in the newest mountain. So I suppose Valerie could have one more baby. We might as well, just to keep those digging genes in our family. We'll have... oh, wait a second. First, let's place the high fertility into our second slot. And then we might want to do the same for you. Yeah, his fertility is rather low too. Since we're on such a small, peaceful island, this is going to be our best chance to focus on these things. So go ahead and breed with Valerie, hopefully, and then she can settle down another nest with some of the last of our nesting material. That's another thing that we're going to work very, very hard to collect on this island, because there never seems to be enough on the cliffs. But it seems like our saber fangs still haven't had much luck attracting any sort of potential partners. In fact, it's surprisingly bare out here. I guess we might as well clear out the area just around the nest. Maybe that's their way to attract a potential mate. If they build up their base well enough, then surely someone will be impressed. I just can't imagine that nobody is going to spawn here, so we'll keep our fingers crossed for our saber fangs. But let's see what Valerie's very final baby is going to look like, as she's just about to pass away, leaving behind a wonderful digger. Oh, and May, did another coconut stun you? Oh, those coconuts are so brutal. I wish I hadn't put you there, little one, but there's not much we can do about it now. At least that means she'll have plenty of time to bond with these little babies, as drowsy as she probably is. This one actually has the hammer tail. Since he doesn't have his brother's spiky body, that means he's keeping one of the rarer genes alive and well in our tribe. If I'm being honest, the hammer tail is probably one of my least favorite genes for the mountain. It's great outside of the colds, but since it doesn't give us any cold resistance, it's just going to make it harder for him to wander around looking for those roots. But that being said, he can dig up plenty, so hopefully he and his brother can come up with a little plan together. Maybe Melody will shield them from the cold after all. Now, the next name on my list is Pixel, so welcome to our tribe. We'll see what sort of adventures are waiting in your future too, as we start leading you over to those ports very soon. This might actually be a good place for them to set up anyways, since there are so many different coconut trees for them to collect from. And it would give May a bit of a more open space to work with, so she doesn't have to worry about settling underneath these coconut trees anymore. I wish we could do something for you though. Just like pull her out of the way so she doesn't have to risk getting hit again. You would think those giant Megaloceros horns would probably shield her a little bit from the coconut's damage. Maybe that's why she's only taken 1 day's worth of damage. Maybe it's helping her out a little bit after all. But I do want to make sure that we're breeding these two. Now that they're the only 2 left in this family, I know that she's going to take care of these 2 little boys very well. she's going to want to see them prosper too, even if they're not related to her by blood. Just the fact that they're part of Melody's flames is enough of a reason for her. So let's see if her fertility is just as bad. Yeah, we definitely don't want to see that infertile trait getting passed on. And for that matter, she also has the short-sighted eyes. So she's in the same situation as Valerie. As long as we focus on it now, then it shouldn't be an issue any longer going forward. So go ahead and breed with May, and hopefully on the next turn, she'll be able to move away from the coconut tree once and for all. I guess we could have Kaneki toddle his way out of the nest too. Since he has his very first gem, he can investigate these strange coconut trees as well. He won't be able to pick up the coconuts, unfortunately, but he can at least kind of gauge the danger of the falling coconuts. That would probably be a good idea. If he knows how dangerous they are while he's still very young, then he'll be less likely to settle underneath them. Now Sakachi, you still can't seem to find any wanderers, can you? There is plenty of food out this way though, so maybe you could allure the babies in this direction, so they could dig up all of those tasty roots for you. It's not exactly a task suited to such a fearsome predator. Our saber fangs are not the most adept of root collectors. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, please get out from underneath that coconut tree. I need to be so much more careful about where we place our creatures. It's tricky because some of these coconut trees are right up against the cliffside. So I would imagine that the coconuts could actually fall up here too. Oh my goodness! A tiny little mouse in the grass. Or a scorpion even? Ooh, she has the new peacock tail too. 2 of the new tail genetics. Though unfortunately with her double deformed paws, she's not going to be able to contribute too much to our tribe. Now that being said, I think Kaneki is still going to offer up a little bit of his extra food, because something tells me that she was sniffing around here to get to know our youngest babies. She's actually super young. Oh, I didn't realize she only had 1 gem. The poor little thing. She must have washed up here. We don't have any bluebirds in our skies, so I can't say that a bluebird really dropped her off. But she must have been trying to find a family that would take care of her. Maybe nobody was willing because of her deformed paws. So we'll give you a home here, Rakois. We'll give you as much of a home as we can manage. I think maybe if we scoot her this way though, then she should at least not risk scaring off these moles. That way we can have Proxy swoop in. Oh, Proxy, that's no way to teach our new little baby. Goodness, you would think you would be much better at hunting than that, considering that he did come from such a prestigious hunting family. Well, at the very least, let's have you pick up some of the extra grass. We can have Pixel toddle out of the nest too. I'm sure he's just as eager to meet this brand new little baby, since they are both the same age. That means we'll be leaving May right here to have her baby, next to the remains of her mentor. So I wonder if that's inspiring her to search out for more roots, because we could use the extra food. Now, you guys didn't really luck out with our wanderer this time. She's far too young to start a family of her own. And aside from that, I'm not sure if they'd want to get to know her anyways. Such a shy little mouse would surely only be eaten alive by such big, fearsome, saber-fanged creatures. So we'll have to see if they can find anybody else out in that tall grass. But for now, let's see what May's very first baby is going to look like. Oh, unfortunately, no digging trunk, and no Berryina snout either, but at least he's carrying it away in his inactive traits, and he's also given us yet another one of those hammer tails too. He actually looks very pretty, very majestic with that light-colored fur, which I'm sure will help him blend in very nicely on the snow. Maybe he'll be another good creature to go searching out for the balance bears, since that was really what got us quite a bit of our food on the previous mountain. Now as for you, the next name on my list is Copper, so welcome to our tribe too. Quite a few males recently, so it would be nice if Melody could offer us up some female flames to take to the mountains too. Let's go ahead and have Proxy breed again with May, and then we'll start moving their children over to the ports like we were planning to. If you scoot on over here, maybe you could pick up those coconuts that May loves so much. That way they won't tempt her to settle down on the shores. I feel like the saber fangs are probably starting to just give up on this place. And in fact, maybe to show their distaste for this strange new biome, they'll just go ahead and destroy the berry bushes in their way. It's not as if Grimsley can really pick up the berries. Maybe his brother could with his velvet paws. But Grimsley has always been the very impulsive sort. And if he's angry with this island for things not going his way, he'd have to take out his aggression somehow. Sakachi we know to be pretty bold and reckless too, but perhaps since he is a little bit older, he'd be a little bit more level-headed. So he's going to try to get in front of Grimsley this time, so we can grab a couple of those berries before he ends up swiping the whole thing down. I suppose all the commotion might even alert our shy little mouse. Maybe she'll try sneaking around in the tall grass, just to get a little bit of a better look. She's very, very curious about these new creatures, and despite how timid she is, she's probably wondering if they're part of her new family too. All of Melody's flames have been so welcoming, so surely they would be as well? I guess we'll have to skip the day and find out. We'll see if she can sneak her way into their hearts too. But first, we have our first female flame. Thank goodness. And not only that, but she has perfect fertility, she has perfect blood clotting, she has perfect eyesight. So this is the sort of thing that I was hoping to see from our strong warriors. She should be an excellent creature to bring to the next island, and hopefully breed the next generation of Melody's flames too. If we can unlock that heat body, I'm sure that Melody would be very impressed with her. The next name on my list is Navi, so welcome to our tribe, little one. And now I think it's time that your family starts making their way down the shore, because we're getting very, very close to filling up all of those ports. So far between everybody, since their parents aren't too old to travel yet, we have 9 creatures ready to leave. So 1 more baby between you two, and then those ports should be completely full. But I want to make sure that they're sitting on the ports first, or at least a little bit closer than they are right now. Otherwise, it's just going to take longer for their babies to journey down the shores, especially if they're dodging falling coconuts in the process. So go ahead and scoop up those berries for us, Sakachi. There actually aren't too many for him to gather, since we seem to be in the middle of a drought right now. So I guess Grimsley is right to destroy as many as possible. At least it's giving us a nice good collection of nesting material in the process. Now I'm sure that our brothers would just be following their noses, trying to pick up all of these roots along the way, and running straight into their old friend Rekois, who's still slinking curiously through the grasses. She's still a little bit too nervous to introduce herself to the saber fangs, especially after seeing how terrifying Grimsley can be. But I wonder if he's going to notice her, since she's so close to that berry bush now. She may have just given herself away after all. But let's have Kaneki make his way down to the shores, so he might be able to light up the way for his siblings. In fact, I'm sure little Copper is very, very eager to get a move on too. Let's have Proxy breed again with May, so at least they can get ready to have their next baby as soon as they make their way over to those grand ports. Oh, good. The rains are here, so we have plenty of these berries to gather, but Kaneki has also grown his very last gem. So this must be a good omen to our tribe. Maybe it means that our newest generation is ready to take the reins in this adventure. But first, let's have Grimsley jump on into the tall grass. That way he can go after these berry bushes. So as he takes a quick swipe at this one, gathering it up with his big hyena claws, maybe he would just narrowly miss attacking our little mouse, who would flop out of that tall grass in shock. Instinctively, since she does have that big scorpion tail on her, I wouldn't be surprised if she tries to maybe lash out at him too. Not in a mean way, just to defend herself. And that's the one thing that I think could impress Grimsley. He's never seen a tail like that before, and it does look quite menacing. Despite the rest of her appearance, he knows that he doesn't want to mess with that tail of hers. So maybe these two can find a little bit of common ground after all. Maybe in fact he could teach her how to attack a bit more effectively, so she wouldn't have to feel quite so afraid all the time. Maybe she doesn't even realize how unique her ways of defending herself could be. She is, after all, the only creature in this tribe who could actually poison our enemies. I'm not sure if the balance bears are immune to poison. I never checked since it was never an issue. But if they're not, then her scorpion tail might be the perfect addition to our saber-fanged creatures. Just something to make them even more feared than they already are. But Kaneki, you are going to be the very first creature to plant your feet down on these ports. So get yourself comfy, find a nice good port to settle down on. You know, it's a little bit grim, but I suppose since we have a skeleton for each and every one of the creatures that's going to be moving, they could always use these skulls as something of a symbol of their status, a symbol of their mission even, so they can take those skulls with them, or one of the bones at least, so the mountains ahead will know that our tribe fears nothing. So in the next episode, I think we should certainly be ready to leave. All of our children have grown their next gems by now, so it's really just a matter of making sure that May can have her next baby, so we'll have one more creature to fill that very last port. Let's actually have her settle down right over here somewhere. If we can move her through all of these creatures. Oh, wait a second. Oh, they found another permanent nest. Oh, thank goodness, Sakachi. You've been doing an excellent job of scouting out those new resources for us. Unfortunately, despite all of these new and impressive bases, it still hasn't been quite enough to attract a potential mate. But I'm thinking that once we land on our new island, we should be able to find him somebody inside one of those glaciers to breed with. That's why our saber fangs are so ready to move. They know that nothing is really left for them here. This island was made for Melody's flames to thrive, but our saber fangs are meant for the mountains. So let's cross our fingers for a little extra fortune for the saber fangs in the next episode. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!